Well, Clayton Oliver's been summoned to a meeting with the new Melbourne coach, Stephen King, today. The coach is going to outline a new set of plans for Oliver, which there's an understanding at Melbourne they might not be to Oliver's liking. Now, all options are on the table. Melbourne might end up, depending on how this meeting goes, ask Clayton to explore his options at a rival club. Clayton might say he wants to go and explore his options at a rival club. It will be a pretty significant meeting today. For the first time, face-to-face, between Stephen King, Clayton Oliver. I think his manager, Nick Geeshan, might be there as well. All options on the table, and we are on the doorstep potentially of a massive clean-out at Essendon, at Melbourne, with two of our highest-paid, most decorated players leaving in the one trade period.
What other role can he play? That's what I like. They explored the run with stuff, which is fine, but he's not a dedicated defensive mid. That's not his go-to, even though he did a couple of jobs. I watched that vision back, and it was pretty much you go your way, I'll go mine.
Yeah,
He's not going to play at half-back because he doesn't have the attributes to succeed across half-back, doesn't see the game well enough, and doesn't use the ball well enough. So if it's not midfield and it's not half-back, it's not going to be forward. So this is just a smokescreen for them to say to him, we are willing for you to explore your opportunities, and we're more than happy for you to do that.
Just one other name I want to mention when it comes to the Gold Coast Suns, because we've focused a lot on Sam Flanders in recent weeks.
We have, yep.
Connor Budrick is one that might make a decision as early as today. Now, like a lot of players that are considering their futures, they want to get through the best and fairest, which was last night, as you mentioned. He's two at Arden Street and the Whitten Oval, and it is down to those two clubs if he is to depart the Gold Coast Suns. I believe they've both got 3-year offers on the table for Connor Budrick. Both see him as a small defender, where if you look at the role he played this year under Damien Hardwick, it was more as a pressure forward. He is a small defender that wants to play there. So I think the opportunities for him going forward won't be at the Gold Coast Suns. But he's got a big decision to make, though, because he's another academy boy, a Queenslander who's come through, but been through quite a bit with his body. 2 knee reconstructions, got back into the team this year, but if he wants to play as a small defender, it might be elsewhere.
You've just broken some big trade news.
Hello, Riley. Yeah, just made official what's been coming for a little while now and been pretty well expected for some time now, that Callum Archie wants to get to the Adelaide Crows on a 5-year deal. He's informed the Lions that is his intention over the next couple of weeks to make that trade happen, to get him to become a Crow after back-to-back premierships at the Brisbane Lions. What a way to finish up a stint of his career and move on to the next stage of his career. He's got links in South Australia. He's also got a good relationship with Murray Davis, the assistant coach at the Crows. It's been a part of his thinking. And the 5-year deal is a significant aspect of it in terms of the tenure and security that brings. Brisbane also has had 4 years on the table, plus a trigger for a 5th, I think. But ultimately, he's been won over by the Crows and wants to get there.
They've got a lot to work through, Melbourne, because we know there's Oliver, there's Christian Petrarca, there's Stephen May, who's also been told to explore his options. They're looking to try and get players in. It seems as though Brody Mychek now is likely to move to the Demons. Would you say that?
Yeah. I think if there's not a decision made by Friday, then like we heard with Jamie Elliott yesterday and saw with Jamie Elliott yesterday, he made that snap decision. It's done now. He's off the market. I think now we can see Brody Mychek getting towards that point where if it's not made on Friday night by the Copeland Trophy, then Saturday the expected decision, and it's favouring heading towards Melbourne.
Another name we mentioned in the first segment, Cal, that I want to get to in a little bit more detail is Sam Flanders. Obviously had interest from 4 Victorian clubs that he has since met with: Melbourne, St Kilda, Essendon and Carlton. Carlton no longer in that race for Sam Flanders. And let's be honest, they were probably the longest shot all the way through in terms of being a potential home for Sam Flanders. But I think that's now completely out of the equation for Sam Flanders. I think he will not be going to the Blues in 2026. During the ad break, me and Cal breaking a story that Dev Robertson, a player that we'd spoken about in the first seg, has now officially nominated West Coast as his preferred home. It's 2 years after the Eagles attempted to land Dev Robertson when he was last out of contract. He ultimately elected to stay on a 2-year deal at Brisbane. He had just played in a losing grand final at the end of 2023, so probably thought there were more opportunities for him. He's played only 6 games in the 2 years since doing that, though. He had some pretty significant interest from the Western Bulldogs earlier this week as well, as we revealed, but he has now chosen West Coast as his preferred home. I think the family dynamic probably played a part in that, Cal. He's obviously from Western Australia. He has the pull of going home, the option of additional midfield, and then I think West Coast had been on the front foot with Dev Robertson for quite some time right the way through this year as well.
Well, it's a 2-year chase, isn't it? Or 3-season chase over 2 years. So he's chosen to go to the West Coast Eagles.
But it's a big call. It's a really big call to sit a player down and say this is going to be your role the way that I see it, in particular today with Clayton Oliver, but then say at the end of it all, if you want to go explore options, if you're not happy with that, go explore. If you're happy, stay, play this role, and you'll be good for us.
As we said, Sammy Eben broke this Clayton Oliver element to this story today on Trade Radio, and only a matter of 20 minutes ago, Tim Lamb, the list manager of the Melbourne Footy Club, had that statement released publicly. John, it's words to the effect you just said. Today was a good chance to sit down with Clayton and share how Stephen and the coaches see the game being played and where the opportunities lie for him. We were upfront with Clayton around the role he is likely to play next season and the need for him to develop his craft beyond the midfield to have the biggest impact within the team. It was honest and respectful. Clayton is now clear on what we see the role being next year and how we think he can best contribute. That's all the nice stuff. We'll get to the last paragraph. Clayton, this is a quote from Tim Lamb. Clayton is contracted for another 5 years. If he wants to explore his options in the upcoming AFL trade period, we will respect that. Should he remain in the red and blue, we will, of course, continue to support and embrace him as part of our club.